Hey everybody, welcome to the Patty G Show. I'm your host, Patty G. We are back for another fantastic episode this week. We get to sit down with Matt Ory, and there's really not one single business to tie this man to. He's kind of like a serial entrepreneur. His hands in a lot of different things, a lot of different entities, but you know, we're going to start where everything kind of originated for him with his life journey and how he kind of got to where he is today. An absolutely amazing man, has learned tons of lessons over the years, whether the hard way or the easy way. It's all just kind of part of being an entrepreneur. So we're going to get to hear about his story. But before we do that, I want to give a big, wonderful shout out and thank you to the amazing folks that bring you this show each and every week. Building 5, Falaya Real Estate, Lakeman's Health Center, Horizon Financial Group, Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge, Mimosa Handcrafted Jewelry, and you know our outfit of the day is always brought to you by McLavy Ltd. Now, without further ado, Matt, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
I'm excited to learn about just everything that you've got going on. I mean, I don't think there is one. I mean, your business card has got to be like 2 or 3 pages at this point.
No, man, I keep it to a minimum. I stay in the shadows these days as best as I can, but it's funny you say that. I have a lot of people that'll ask me, they said, I don't understand you. I can't figure you out. I'm like, well, I can't figure me out either. So, you know, we're off to a running start on the show, but I'll try and get into a little of depth with me to how I got to the position I'm in right now, whatever that may be.
Right.
I'm still learning.
It's changing every day, I'm sure.
Every day it changes. So for good or bad, I'm just where I am. And I'll get to that at some point.
So for those listening, if we can, I mean, who are you exactly, and what the heck do you do? Man,
I went to E.D. White as a kid. I grew up playing baseball, football, basketball, normal, things that we do. Go to school at Nicholls State and kind of knew I wanted to go to law school and ended up with a political science degree somehow. Looking back, I would never, ever have done that again, not because just because to me that I knew that's not the direction I was going. I thought politics could be in my career at some point, but outside of that, I didn't feel like there was a whole lot of diversity with the degree. Probably should have gotten a business degree, but there's been a lot of successful people who are going to do different things with that degree. It just wasn't for me. But it took me to law school at Loyola, and my first job there came out. I worked as an associate with someone and wasn't there very long, not on a bad term, but I just knew that there was more of a business side of this thing than actual a law degree. You know what I mean?
So like, were you like entrepreneurial as a kid? Did you have like a grass cutting thing during the summertime?
No, my parents instilled work ethic. I mean, my dad is 85 to this day, still works 4.5 days a week.
Wow.
He's a doctor and he's a beast, and he's in really, really, really good shape. My mom's a nurse, but no, they're not. They're quite the opposite. My dad's essentially a W-2 employee, and he knows what he knows, and that's what he does. It's very structured. And then somehow I'll come out and I am all over the place like a little tornado, running around, but they weren't like that. I don't know where it came from, to be quite honest. But I had a burning desire to do more and more and more, and I still do.
Yeah. So you have this associate job, short-lived, on good terms.
Yeah, on good terms. I'll never forget. It was a case that I generated, and I didn't understand how that worked there. And
like you got a client.
I actually I got a client, and it happened to be a good claim. And at the end of the day, and looking back, and immediately at that point, you're still a W-2 employee, where I'm thinking like, oh, awesome, I'm going to get a cut on this case. And like, no, it's not happening. And at that point in time, I totally understand their position.
Right.
It was never a bickering. It's nothing. Just internally, that was my trigger going, I got to do my own thing.
Yeah, I mean, you notice that, especially when you're in that situation, that professional setting, right, where you bring in clients, if the compensation structure is set up to where, hey, Matt, we're paying you this a year.
That's correct.
We're paying you this a year.
And what they did was...
Doesn't matter what you win, lose, we're paying you this a year.
That's right. And what they did was absolutely correct. And it was never mentioned, to be quite honest. This was all just in my head. I've never expressed this because I knew they were correct.
Yeah.
They were just my little trigger to move. But looking back, as a youngster, you never realize the pain and gain that they went through, the capital that they put up to get where they got, the risks that they took. You forget all that when you're a little W-2 guy. You're like, hey, well, what about me? I brought this case in.
Well, I think every employee, when they take a look at a situation where they're like, I made the business this much money, they tend to only see that upside in that particular case, in that particular situation. As an employee, they say, well, I mean, I made a company so much more money because of this one situation. But if you flip it around and say, okay, great, so what required us to do this was the lease on the building, the utilities on the utilities we got to pay for, your to and from, if you get per diem, and they start listing out all these other costs. And like, well, no. I want to be a part of that. I just want to be a part of the upside of what I'm here. Then it kind of relates back to that's why you're a W-2 employee.
Yeah, and look, there's nothing. There is a time and place. Everybody's different. Their mindset's different. I respect, the heck out of a W-2 employee because I feel like sometimes they get that part of life where they have a great living, and when they go home, the other side of things never kicks in. The worry never kicks in. You did your job. You get home at 5. I have a lot of respect for that too because I don't sleep. You know what I mean? Even when I sleep, I don't sleep.
Yeah.
And I wake up moody. I wake up tired because there's so much stress. But with that responsibility comes the stress. So it's not for everybody to attempt to, I don't know if you even call it do something more because it doesn't make you any better being an entrepreneur.
Right.
You're not any better than anybody else.
It's just a different job description.
That's it. You're not more important. You're not more anything. Everybody's valuable, but you just took a different path, and that path happens to be more stressful.
It's more stressful. There's a higher risk tolerance that you have to be an entrepreneur.
Absolutely.
You can't be an entrepreneur and be totally petrified of taking risks.
No.
Because you won't do it for very long.
No, you won't.
But,
and you'll get eaten up.
But everybody that is a W-2 employee is critical to the success of an organization. And those people, when they have the opportunity to do so, they reward them for that.
That's right. And look, they should. I was looking at one of the questions at the end that you tend to pose, and it goes back to I think so many people underappreciate their staff, and I'll say it at the end of the show, and I'll say it now, but pigs live and hogs get slaughtered.
Yeah.
Never, ever, ever forget all the ladies, the men, everybody who's within your staff, and I don't even call it my staff, it's just we work together.
The team.
Yeah. You better value them, and don't be scared to pay them what they're worth.
Yeah.
Because it all translates to the end of the year. And so many people fall short of that. They get so damn greedy. Don't expect the world from someone you're not willing to compensate as they should be compensated. And we'll leave it at that.
Yeah. So you decided that was not the route for you to be a W-2 employee. You took a leap. What was the step from there?
So you'll love this. So this is funny. My first entrepreneurial gig, the first failure of many that I've had in my life, Frickin' Chicken in Baton Rouge. Remember that place? You'd walk up, it was on Gordier, and they would say, "Welcome to Frickin' Chicken. How may I frickin' help you?" The food was outstanding. Now at the time, the location was a gore hole. I mean,
what year was this?
This had to be, it was mid 2000s.
Okay. Pre-Katrina, post-Katrina?
Pre.
Got it.
My first gig ever. Me and a couple of buddies invested with it. Cousin of mine who's an Army Ranger, he started it. He was looking for capital. It was my first venture anything. We failed, but I learned a lot from it. And for me, my biggest trigger there was location. The concept was great, and the food, honestly, was very good. Anyone would tell you that. At the time, location killed us. It wasn't near what it is now.
So were you doing your own thing within a law firm at this time?
Yeah. Okay. But this is where I'm branching off, figuring out there is so much more to this world than practicing law.
Gotcha.
What excites me, a courtroom was fun for a little while. You know what I mean? But then I'm like, I don't want to live in here like this. This is not where I want to be every single day doing this. I want to do different things and have diversity within my little portfolio. That was the first failure. But from that failure came to me, all right, locations, key. So that's where it started. And then we practiced for a while, ended up with a great partner, a law partner I'm still with today. We teamed up. We started Ordo McEwen and Ori, which evolved into AMO Trial Lawyers. Originally it was I, and our other partner was a neurosurgeon who's also got a law degree.
They just got bored being a neurosurgeon, so I want to become an attorney.
Something like that, yeah. I'm still with David today. Carson has since retired, Dr. McEwen. But David has been just an incredible partner. To me, I mean, he's the guy's had more jury trials. He as we speak today, he just finished with a jury trial, deliberating. I don't even know what happened at this point because I'm now here. So if they do call, I miss it. But he's a dog in a courtroom, and that's his nature. That's what he loves to do. But he's not the marketing guy. He's the hitman. Right. And that's how it evolved. And he and I tried a bunch with him too. We have tried a lot of cases together, different fields. Dave does a lot of injury work. I was doing a lot of criminal work at the time. And then we recently merged with our guys in Metairie. But back to David and I, at some point in time, I started investing in commercial real estate. And from that point, I said, you know what I need to do? I need to open a title company because I had different closings that I just frankly thought were mundane and not impressive. And I didn't feel like people had gratitude.
You would say, I need to open a title company after going through some stuff.
It was my personal closings. But the thing was, I felt like after the war room that we were in, trying cases every other month, just jury trial to jury trial, it was tough. It was getting old. It's hard. It's taxing. The stress levels were crazy. And I felt like some people didn't appreciate the work that was coming to them. And I mean, it's a whole different deal. When I finished that, the file's closed, it's scanned in the sky. Everybody's happy. How many investments? Gator Coolers. I provided capital, one of the capital investors in Gator, one of the OG investors, because of a closing table. I met Brian there at the closing table. I believed in him. I didn't care what the hell he was selling. I was sold on him, and I was willing to invest in him. Be that as it may, all of a sudden, title company pops up. Then comes Morgan City. Then comes Alexandria. Then comes Lafayette, which we're going through right now. That's really enjoyable to me. I love hustling the business. I like the people at the table. That's fun. I like the networking aspect of everything. And look, our trial practice is insane, but we merged with a firm out of Metairie under AMO Trial Lawyers. Those guys are great, and that's working out well, because what ended up happening is we got influx with work. Those three love the courtroom, and I still go in the courtroom a lot too, but I can handle more of this, this side now, when this side I'm referring to title, and they're on the trial side primarily. So it's allowing me to do both, but now put a lot of focus on the other side as well.
Yeah, so I think that merge is kind of case in point, where it is find the right people and build the team to build a better business. Not try to do everything yourself, not try to be three people building this massive company, getting as many clients as possible. It's value in teamwork and understanding that to have the right partners in place can help you go to that next level, can help you get out of doing the parts that you don't want to do, and opens that door up for AMO Title.
It does, and it really lets us take that to the next step, because those guys have been that whole merger was a godsend looking back, because now I'm starting to live a little bit. One of my biggest regrets so far, I just turned 42, is not enjoying the ride. I look back and it's the time's ticking. You're never enjoying either the person that's in front of you that you do care about, or you don't even realize it. You're not trying to neglect someone. You're so focused on getting where you need to get, you're forgetting everything in between. You're losing sight of what's really important is sitting right in front of your face.
Yeah.
I'll have to live with that the rest of my life. And look, I work on that actively, taming that right now. But looking back, that merger is the biggest godsend of my life, because I was on the borderline of insanity, trying to do what I do, and then getting home at 9 at night and hustling and trying cases, and the stress level. So, and they're good at what they do. And then, one of them, they bring different personalities. David, that I've been with forever, is so quiet. David will he's willing to help whenever he can. Preston on the other side's a lot like me. He's probably worse than me. And I don't mean that in a bad, I mean in a good way.
Yeah.
Preston will, if I'm down or if I'm too high, he'll pull me back, and he'll step right in and tell you to, this is how it needs to be. And I need a lot of that in my life, because I'll run wild. I can get so high or so low. One of my focuses lately has been controlling the highs and controlling the lows. They've all allowed me to do that, to where I'm in a good place right now to really get focused on this next few years and lock this sucker down, and let's go have some fun.
Yeah, and I think that is the part of entrepreneurship that often gets overlooked, is the balance that really isn't a balance.
I have no balance.
There comes a point in time where you hit that element in your life, and you're like, okay, something's got to give. Something has to claw its way back, and I've got to regain ground on this other side.
Sure.
And I find myself in that situation where it's like, I'm not spending enough time here, and I spend enough time there, and something's going to fall to the wayside, and you've got to figure out what it takes on one side or the other to make sure that you can kind of have this leveling out period, because if not, it's just something's going to give.
Yeah.
And then once something drops, then you'll level out, but it's like you lost that piece of you that's no longer there, and for me, for an example, is that this show, I'm expecting my second kid later in October. And so I'm like, I've got to start stacking up recording shows. So, we've got sponsors now, we've got a team now, we've got a producer, like we've got people that rely on the show happening every single week. So it can't stop. What can I do so I can have some dedicated time with a newborn and an 2-year-old at that time, so that way my house doesn't burn up in flames,
Yeah.
you know? So doubling up, tripling up, it's like we have to put the work on the front end so that work on the back end, we can kind of coast through whatever we need to do. But entrepreneurs oftentimes find themselves replying to emails at 9 o'clock laying in bed, taking phone calls on a Saturday or a Sunday when they're off, quote unquote, off the clock. There's never an off time when you're an entrepreneur. You always have to be on.
You know, and that's when people reference kind of what you just said, I look at the bar exam. It was the same way. It's the same thing. Well, I have to feel compelled to return a call or do this. If it don't, it's going to bother me. Bar exam, take a day off. Why? Okay, I can go take a day off. The problem with taking a day off is all I'm doing is thinking about what I should be doing.
Yeah.
So the hell with it. I'm not taking a day off. I'm just going to study for 3 months relentlessly, get this done, and have it over. Same thing with emails, same thing with calls. Even when you tell yourself it's Friday, I can't let it go. I'm like, I may not call them back on Friday because it's the principle. It's Friday night. You called me at 6 o'clock. And I'm thinking to myself, have you lost your mind?
Right.
But it still bothers me. And I let it bother me all weekend. That's ridiculous that I do. And I'm not mad at the person. I'm mad at myself for just not calling them back Monday morning and just forgetting about it. But then again, it's kind of like maybe that's what it's in my DNA and made me whatever it is I am today. I don't know.
It's that will to not leave somebody needing something from you, right?
Yeah, and look, the further you go, you got to learn to start saying no. And I'm getting good at that to where it's getting vicious. Where it's like everybody, you almost feel at this point that, especially in the legal field, I think that people think lawyers can just fix anything, and it's like, man, my dad is a general practitioner. Is not going to do knee surgery.
Right.
He's not going to conduct your knee surgery for you. Why are you asking me if I can deal with your lemon law for your car? Like, anyway, but they don't know any better. But it does get overwhelming.
I get the same calls as CPA.
Like, man, geez, I just want to be left alone for just a minute. And
I've already started to give them my response now is it depends.
Maybe I'll try that. We'll see.
Hey, quick question. It depends. Don't even ask it. It depends.
That's right.
But it's, and as an entrepreneur, we almost get to the point where there could be some burnout. But for you, you've kind of just kept on adding different things and just adding on and kind of have found this inner drive to not stop.
Yeah, which one you want to know about?
Let's go into the AMO title part. So you had some bad experiences and you decided, heck with this, I'm going to open my own title company.
Not bad. They weren't bad experiences. I just thought things could be done differently. And I honestly felt like that there was maybe some lack of gratitude for every file that came in the door.
Gotcha.
Where after you try a bunch of cases and you're in a courtroom, you're grateful for any file that comes to the door because it's not that. It's not a courtroom. It's just taxing on you, and physically, mentally, relationship-wise. It kills you. If you want to be the best in a courtroom, it takes a lot of time.
Yeah.
And out of people's lives, and there's a lot of things that you have to say no to. So, that's just been a little different. And that's how that got started. But here we are with office number 4 on the title side, 2 trial firms, and God knows what's next in that. I don't know.
So you opened the first title company, and it's in close proximity to your law office?
Oh, yeah. It was a commercial center that I developed, and I had 2 of the suites.
Okay, so you developed a commercial center. So let's back up then.
Yeah, so that was...
I just thought you invested in a commercial. I didn't know you developed a whole center.
Oh, yeah. So my brother had...
let's talk your commercial side.
My brother passed away 7 years ago, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. This last month, it makes 7 years. But... I remember before he had passed away, he had lived with me for the last year, and he said, you need to build a Jimmy John's. He said, you need to open a Jimmy John's. I'm thinking, no, that's not what I need to do, but I'll build one and let them rent from me. And he literally died, and I had to get my mind occupied. I think it was within 3 days I had a lease signed on a piece of ground. Now, keep in mind, I had no idea what I was doing.
So you bought dirt.
I'll get to that in a second. And by no idea what I'm doing, back up really quickly before that, this all got started. Me and 2 partners had built the Walk-Ons in Houma. All right, so we're the landlords there.
Got it.
We're not franchisees there.
Y'all just Walk-Ons property. Y'all own a property.
We own a property. Walk-Ons, that first cookie cutter you see, that was it in Houma. We still to this day have. We bought the land, built a building, and those guys, they're incredible tenants. Such a great business model, but been a blessing there. That was a principle I learned where, for me, I was always scared of debt. I aggressively, still to this day, pay off any personal debt as quickly as at least I humanly possibly can. I'd rather eat dirt than buy something I can't afford.
Right.
That's just my principle. I'm not judging someone who lives differently. That's just how I like to live. However, what I learned in that deal was it's okay to have other people, the right people, service your debt. And when you get into that and start realizing the tax code was formulated essentially to promote you to buy real estate, everything starts clicking. And then you start dealing with the side of the banks and the network, and you think there's only one bank, but now realize with that contract, well, the bank doesn't really have the upper hand there. They don't give a dang about me, but they look at your tenants. You know, they'll shoo me off like a little fly. Like, get out of here, you little peasant.
Who is leasing from
That's
you,
right.
and what do your lease agreements say?
Sure. And, you know, so that's all very valuable lessons you learn. It's prime plus one. Oh, really? No, it won't be today. It's not what it's going to be today. You're not dealing with me. You're dealing with them. That's a big difference. You can do whatever you want to me. You could say prime plus 800. They're like, oh, dang, you got me.
Right.
But in all honesty, when you have the right tenants or the right product, they can't, you know, they're much more willing to negotiate, and you become very friendly with these guys. And they're like, everyone in the banking industry is so nice. So that's really hard because I had to learn it's okay to break off from one, and you're still doing business with them, but you can go and shop around, and then you develop the next center. So that was development number one, is myself and two partners who I'm still with today. They're both awesome. We have an insane amount of trust in each other. I was there's three of us. One was the lead. He was the majority. My other partner and I were minority in that one. Fast forward to the one when my brother died. I'm the majority. They're the minority there. And I run that show. They run that show. We ask very little questions. We meet up. When we meet up, we talk often. We're now in a small sliders, and we'll get to that in a second. But that's how that started. But so that one, I literally had a space left. I had some different experiences. I said, well, hell with it. I'm putting a title company here. And that's how it all started.
So, the Walk-Ons is in that shopping center?
No, that's in Houma.
Okay.
So this is center number 2. Well, that's not a center. That's that restaurant.
Right.
This one is center in Thibodaux.
Got it.
That I love the location. I mean, if you'd asked me how to just, like, if I had to get you somewhere in Thibodaux, it's in the easiest place to get, I'd say the corner of 308 and Highway 1, well, this is right there.
Got it.
And you're right next to Rouse's, and these guys, you know, do mega market analysis. They don't blindly go places. So I knew it was the right place to be. Again, location. So Jimmy John's had one. Big Mike's Barbecue was its own little center. So it was, Big Mike's was 5,000 square feet. This center was 65, and they're connected by a courtyard. You know, so it's two different buildings, but it's all one piece of ground. And Suite B was available. So that's how that started. And then I got really the center down the street. I'm very big on, you know, one thing I liked about commercial real estate is I can control that. I can go cut the grass. I can edge it. I can blow it. I can make sure that I can control what I can control. I can't control the board of directors in a company in China.
Yeah.
And that's okay. Not that I need to. I'm just saying, at least this I know when I fail, it's on me. Mm-hmm. That's my fault. And my brother's name's in that center. So under no circumstance will you see litter there, will you see weeds in the beds. It will not happen. You can go there today. It's not going to happen. Anyone will tell you that. So the center down the street, it's one street, this Laura Drive, and at the corner, really nice guy owned it at the time, but I was like, man, it could look better. And I do not want that facade bringing down the look of this whole street. So I negotiated with him, and we knocked that one down, and that was 7,600 square feet.
So now you've got two centers on the same street.
Both corners. And, you know, whip it up, looks great. I'm big on signage, electrical, you know, anyone to tell you that. I want my illuminated block channelized lettering, etc. I'm not going to allow anything else. I'd rather not have a tenant than do that because it matters. I'm big on like lighting. Lighting drives commerce.
Right.
My places are all lit up. They stay clean. Litter can or cannot drive commerce. I'm fanatical about litter. I hate it. It bothers me. You know, I think that public leaders, officials can do a much better job and don't quite understand how important that is to keep a clean community. But I fight with that battle every day. But I can go pick up litter. Yep. I'm not waiting for someone to do it. I'm going to stop. Literally, I can be in my suit, go into court, I see litter, I stop, I pick it up, throw it in the garbage can. I just can't. There's no other way I know. Cigarette butts. I mean, I'm always coming to blows with people over. I remember watching a guy pour an ashtray out, and I said, what you going to do with that? Well, what are you, the owner? I said, what does it matter who I am? Why would you do that in this parking lot? And they picked it up. Then we get a broom and to Big Mike's and swept it up. And it was nice about it, but I was pissed. I was really pissed.
I am the owner, but you don't need to know that.
I didn't tell him that, but I said, you need to pick that up.
Yeah.
I mean, that's called a quality human. I don't know what else to tell you, but I'd rather fight you than allow that to happen. I will lose sleep knowing I'll let you get away with that.
And it is one of the quickest deterrents of any parking lot, any facility. If you drive up and you see litter, if you haven't already been there, you're very hesitant to get out of the car.
Absolutely. And that's an advantage of being a local landlord of these different centers.
Yeah.
Because, there's other power groups that are everywhere else, other states, Mississippi, Georgia, Atlanta, you name it. They don't know what's going on there daily. They don't know if their lights are out. They have no idea. I'm big on security. I just think that's a major issue. That's a good draw to have someone come in. But if you'd see any building I've redone downtown or in Thibodaux or any other place, they're going to have one common theme, and they'll be lit like the 4th of July. Every one of them, whenever it gets dark, you're like, God, that's got a lot of lights. Yeah, it does. Why? Because it's safer. Mm-hmm. And it draws attention to it. I don't want the attention. I want the building to have the attention, because if it has the attention, it's going to deter someone. They can go to a dark place and rob them. They're not coming here.
Yeah.
And that's just the principles that we live by. And then
it also brings a sense of uniformity too, right?
Sure. And it's a signature, man. It's like little artwork that you do, and you move on, and hopefully people appreciate the grind that it takes to do it. But if they don't, they don't. It's okay too. I'll make it better.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, you can sleep well at night knowing that what you've had control over is done right.
Yeah, and I'm not a control freak. I just like to know that I like to be accountable for me failing.
Yeah.
I don't want to rely on somebody else. I want to bet on me. And I don't mean that in an arrogant way. I just like to take it on the chin. And anyone will tell you that who knows me. I'm not going to make excuses. I fail a lot. We could talk way more about how much I failed than anything I would call remote success. But, it's one of the things that drives me too, is honestly, when I look in the mirror, I never look at that going, man, you're successful. Ever, ever, ever. It's more and more. And it's not a greed thing. It's a satisfaction thing that could be better. I could be better. My physique could be better. I could eat cleaner. It doesn't matter how I ate or clean that day. I'm going to find the one thing that I shouldn't have. And I'm like, dang it. And that's what I harp on. And it frustrates me, but I don't know any other way.
Yeah. And so I kind of live by, if I could be 1% better than I was yesterday, and you just keep enacting that each and every day, just 1% better, 1% better, not drastically change and become a totally different human. Let's just fix one thing. Let's just fix 1% from what I was yesterday to what I am today.
Yep.
And that has, at least for me, it's been like, okay, now I can focus on how to get better and not harp on what was bad.
Yep.
But as entrepreneurs, you define success however you want to define it. And success is a personal term in my mind.
100%.
Right? When you have people looking at, oh, Matt's so successful. He's got all this money in the world. He's got all this and that. He's got these buildings. He's got whatever they're going to attribute to success. At the end of the day, it's whatever you define as success. And if you're like, we weren't successful, there was a bag that was in the parking lot for 3 hours and it should have been gone in 15 minutes. That was not successful.
That's right.
And it's people want to put success and attach it to a monetary figure when it's not. Success is personally defined. If you're like, you know what? I was able to not have to answer a phone call this entire weekend. That was a success.
No doubt
I'm successful because of that.
I've never correlated big things or fancy things to success. I live in my house personally is tiny. I drove a Tahoe that had 276,000 miles on it. I took pride in it. And again, I'm not judging you live in a gazillion dollar house and drive. That's okay. I don't look at it that way.
Everybody's different.
For me personally, mine was just different. Mine was paying off certain debts by a certain threshold age. That meant something to me. Because, again, it goes to the accountability issue of myself, where I'm going, I don't want to be in debt forever. I want to pay it off. And if that means I have to go without some things, I'm okay with that. I don't give a damn what you think about my house. I don't care what you think about my vehicle. What I do care is that you think I keep up my yard, that I clean my shoes, because that doesn't cost any money. I tell people all the time, you can control how you dress. It doesn't need to be fancy. It doesn't need to be expensive. Yeah. But you can wear it right. Mm-hmm. It cannot be sloppy. You can go polish your shoes. It costs about 6 cents. There's no excuse for that. You know what I mean? That's stuff that you can, and believe me, it matters. I can't expect you to come sign a major contract with me for a car accident case when I don't look the part. I've got to start there. And I'm not sure that's a building block. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? It's not like you're a fraud because, hey, my shirt's tucked in, so you should do X, Y, and Z. It's a foundation. I look at how people take care of themselves to know, can you properly do something for me or a job? I feel like I can tell a lot about you by things you never know that I'm noticing.
And when you look at dress and you look at attire, it's really important for that first impression.
Of course.
It doesn't necessarily speak to who you are as an individual if you dress a certain way. However, it's how you come across within a first impression.
That's right.
And the reality is we attribute how people are from a first impression based on what they're wearing.
Sure. And look,
and how they wear.
And right? It has nothing to do with the price of it.
100%.
It could be $4 or whatever. Your friend has a $2,000 set. It means nothing to me. But it's how you wear it and your body language, everything about it. It's just a telltale sign. But anyway, I'm no fashion guru, so well, I'll just continue to make sure my shoes are clean.
It's what do they say? You can always know somebody by what their shoes look like.
God forbid you're on an interview and say, "Can I go see the inside of your car right now?"
That is another component.
That
right?
Can be tragic for people. And I'm like, it costs X.
It costs nothing to keep a clean car.
I vacuum my car 3 or 4 times a week.
Like it's not even vacuum, just clutter.
Sure.
It costs nothing to grab whatever trash is in your cup holders and throw it away when you get home. Not even saying that you have to stop and do something. Like literally just when you get home or you get to wherever you're going, just grab your trash and throw it in the garbage can.
Yeah.
Instead of having somebody say, "Oh, great, can I ride with you?" Sure, give me 10 minutes.
Hey.
Let me go clean all the clutter in my car and whatnot.
And look, not judging. I'm just saying that certain traits tend to be exposed, whether good or bad. And look, there's some of the most brilliant people I know are some of the messiest, and I'll say that. The messiest. Their trucks are disgusting, but they are brilliant people.
And it also is a time devotion thing too.
Yeah, exactly. And I get all that. You have to factor all that in, but to me, like I'm not a brainy. I have to control what I can control because I can't rely on my big huge brain that I don't have.
Right.
You know, like that. So I've got the little things to me. They have to click. They have to fire because I can't get away with it any other way. Mm-hmm. So others can, but some of the biggest brainiacs I know, and I mean that in a very positive way, are slobs. Super intelligent, super successful. But I often wonder how much is going on up there that's you're blind to that.
It really does become a blindness.
Yeah.
You don't even see it.
In their desk. I mean, you can't get to them, but they're brilliant. Like a level that I'll never comprehend. You know? Yeah. But that's okay.
To each their own.
I'll give you my 2 or 3 decent characteristics and you take my other 40 bad and we'll go from there and see if they work.
So when did you know it was time to open the 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th location of AMO Title? Like how did you go about doing that? You know, the first one obviously was easy. You had a space, it was vacant, and you said, "I want to do this, let me put it there."
I just felt like it was a different business model that you know, I don't want to say too much right here about it, but it is a different model. In other words, there's so much you can do without being present in that industry. So much technology that can be used to really give you an upper hand that others are never willing to change and use. And when they do, it's going to be way too late, or it is too late. And then the ladies, I mean, I say that there's a few men, but majority of the title offices, at least I've seen, it actually has been the women there, but man, they're awesome. Like that's the value in them is you're only as good as who's behind the scenes, especially in that industry. And I got that mine are. We're very blessed to have them, but you know we treat them very well, and they deserve every penny of it and more. I mean, they're incredible. So sometimes I'll base a decision off the right person there to get it rolling, and you got to believe in yourself and your ability to make a wise decision on that hire, and invest with them, offer them something they've never had, and they deserve it. That's all I can say. They're good.
So how did you know? Like we talked about how Rouse's was at that corner, and you knew that they did so much market research, so it was a good location. Mm-hmm. How did you know the locations are going to be right for those?
So I do my own market analysis with that, just like I do on different rental properties. On that, I could be looking at other competitions, websites, what type of marketing, talk to different billboard companies, see who's doing what there, who's involved in a community, and basically when I see a big major void, we attack.
Got it.
And that's just market analysis there is a little bit different, but you can tell a lot by what's not being done. Mm-hmm. And then you start associating with different people in the business and you find out who's really good at it. And, you know, you can you can generally see why someone's been successful, and then you look at everyone else. I mean, look, I can get someone's website and go, that's been 40 years since they've touched that, and off and running we go. And again, I'm very quiet about what I look at there, just as a competitive advantage. I could really get into specifics that I'm not going to do, especially on a public setting. But to answer your question, it's an absolute market analysis and a void that we're filling, and is a very specific void that I'm looking for.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense.
Yeah.
So, in addition to the buildings you've got, the title company, the law firm, you've got other commercial rental properties, other residential rental. I mean, how many rental properties are you at to this point?
Oh gosh, are you talking units or prop? I don't know. I mean, we've got
we'll talk sites.
Sites. So there's Rox's Bar.
Okay.
Not only the business side of Rox's, but the actual.
So what's Rox's Bar?
Rox's is the cornerstone of Thibodaux, and I'm gonna be honest with you. If anybody who's been to college there, that they know one thing, and it's Rox's Bar. So to me, it was just an issue of name recognition there. It's been important to the town. Quite frankly, it's a great way to brand your business through it, because it's a very regional location, meaning these people generally don't leave. It's probably a 65-70% retention of people who go through those doors at a young age kind of end up in the community. So I'm subliminally branding AMO throughout. You know what I mean? So letting them know one day when you get there that maybe you remember us when you buy a house. And the networking, I spend very little time there, very, very little. But you're watching everything. But you don't have to. Technology's a little bit different these days. Mm-hmm. You hear the same, they rob you in the bar business. Well, how the hell do you know? You don't own a bar. Is that a cliche that you heard a while back? Because this is 30 years ago. And yes, there's part of a game. I mean, theft can come in the form of a bartender giving something away. It could be in the form of taking. But at the end of the day, there's a lot more controls in place than people ever imagine. But be that as it may, that's one building.
So do you own the bar as well?
Mm.
Okay. So
with a partner.
Why'd you buy the bar?
Why not?
So, I mean, obviously, I know, like you said, it's a staple of Thibodaux. Did it just come for sale and you're like, I want to keep this thing around, or?
No, it never came for sale. Never got to that. I knew when I got a specific text message exactly what was being
Got it.
What was being asked in that text message, and the games began at that point. And then I love the location of it. I've flipped buildings in downtown Thibodaux. I've renovated. We're on a renovation right now, but there's 2 others that have been flipped, a third that we're about to get started on. So it's honestly to keep track of what's the ownership right now. I don't know. I mean, some we flip, some go to different hands. To me, it's honestly about making it better. It's not always about a profit. It's a project, and I'm tired of looking at it, so I'll make an offer because I can't look at it anymore. And if I think it's right, great. And if you happen to make a little money, that's good too. Some we hold, and then they have great tenants. But one by one, we're knocking down downtown Thibodaux.
Which is incredible, by the way. That's a hairy, audacious goal, a HAG, as they call it, right?
But, one of the things that I was telling, when I looked at Thibodaux, and as funny as it sounds, as a growing market, who would ever thought you'd say that? But we have a great hospital, ridiculous hospital. We got Nicholls State University. But there was one place where you could get into, when you get into the construction side of things, and you're looking at commercial real estate, the square footage to build keeps going up and up and up. So when COVID prices were high, I'm looking at things going, well, why don't we take a different approach to this? If materials are going up, why? Well, let's focus on labor. I want buildings that I can peel back. I want to get to that original brick. I want to take down those ceilings, just like, recessed ceilings. In those old buildings, I want top to bottom. I want the exposed wood from the pine upstairs. So what I started figuring out was, the hell with this. I don't need your materials. I don't care what a 2x4 costs. I'm ripping it all out. I'm going to bring this sucker back. And then, of course, there's tax credits from a state and federal standpoint at some different times, or some different situations. The feds will kick in on credit. But that's how I started looking at the downtown region, going, man, well, that's something you can get into at 60 or 70 a square versus 200 a square. And even if I spread it across, now I'm in this whole thing for 100 a square. Where else are you going to do that?
Yeah.
Then I said, if you do enough of them, well, hell, you'll start controlling the comps. I don't need a market. I'll tell you what the last 3 sold for because we bought them. You know what I mean? So like you had if there was enough volume there, you could start dictating a little bit of what you could maybe see what the next price may be on the next buy. Or you got lucky and they didn't know yet, whatever it may be. But Rocks is in it's the spot. There's a lot more to it that I could talk about too, between how this all started. I mean, at one point I got there was a class at Tulane. I got all their students to come down, and I got them to draw what I envisioned of downtown Thibodaux. I still have it to this day, and it's been used. But now we have a new mayor in there, very receptive. Like I told you before the show, we just had $250,000 allocated from the state of Louisiana to a project that touches the bar. You know what I mean? Because it is the feature street there, and they're going to condemn a street, pave it, have a place to put, have concerts, things like that, so that people don't have to come in and rent a stage for $2,500. We're going to give it to them right there.
Right.
So that was important. Now we got to go match the funds to get it, but I'm confident we got the renderings, we have the state money, that getting that capital is going to be easy. We'll gather that quickly to finish the job, and then we can get started. But I also had bought the building in the back of Roxas and tore it down. And I hate tearing stuff down, especially then, but it was built in 1814, and I couldn't salvage it. It was that bad. It killed me to it, but it was a complete eyesore. But what's crazy is I bought that because they had two properties between these two bridges, and I knew after I had the school come in, and it was always like, if a property comes up that actually faces Bayou Lafourche, we got to grab this. So we did, and ultimately, then Roxas came in. They happens to be backyard, so what you're about to see is a patio. The architect is giving his final renderings on Friday. Yeah, I'm sure we'll tweak a little bit. We're about ready to roll. People are going to see construction there within probably 90 days is realistic. It's where we get cranking. So now it's half the damn block.
The bar.
I'm about to do a whole outside patio in conjunction with this money that just got allocated that's going to be next door to that. So we're about to do something really special. That means something to me. I get goosebumps talking about that.
That's incredible, man.
I don't know if I'm going to make any money at all. I don't care. It doesn't matter. I want to do this, and I want to do it for the town, and I'm done because I'm tired. You know what I mean? Like, I don't feel the need to invest any more down there after, but this is important to me to finish this job.
I mean, you've done so much already downtown.
Yeah, whatever.
And it's almost to the point where it's like an attracting factor of people to go there.
Well, that's my point. That's what I'm trying to do. If I did my part to help, it's not about making any money on it. It's about making a difference. That's all you got when you die. Nobody's gonna damn if you have $2 or $10 million. You'd be like, damn, he did some stuff. He's crazy.
Yeah.
But he got some shit done. It's like, all right, cool, man.
Yeah, stuff was done on his watch, and it's lasting. It's memorable. It's not just something temporary.
That's what matters to me.
That has come and gone,
And especially with downtown Thibodaux, that is what mattered to me. It was never about a profit there. And I was confident that I would never lose money on it. It could, you could make a couple of dollars, but whether it was through tenants and you hold them long, I just felt really good about the direction. I saw some really good buys down there. So, that's where we are with that. And then you'd ask about small sliders. So we recently got into that. The same group as the fellas that we built the Walk-Ons at home. Mm-hmm. And we added a couple more. So we've got a group of us, and there are 5 of us, and we have the territories for Lafourche, Terrebonne, and Lafayette. And I'm definitely one of the silent guys. I am the only one.
You're the silent guy.
I'm the one that, guys, look, I love concepts. I love people. Y'all have this. You need me? Call me. I'll be at the ribbon cutting. Other than that, holler if you need it. Because I do believe in the concepts of too many cooks in the kitchen can get outrageous. So if the name of the game in this franchise business is value, and frankly, I wouldn't be surprised if we grab several more. But it's not like 1 is not going to make a difference in your life. 2 is not going to make a difference. You got to have value. So it is good to put together your capital group and then let the Chiefs roll. I just want to be y'all tell me when you need me here. On this one, I'm occupied with other stuff. Here if you need always. Tell me where I need to be, and I'm good with that. But I like my role, and I have different roles where I'm a capital investor in multiple society brands, Gator Coolers. I call capital. I mean, it's different I'm actually a franchisee, one of them there. But within our little group, I'm a capital investor there. White Oak Duckwoods in Arkansas, you name it. But that's stuff where I get out the way. I will never ask a question. I have a ton of belief in these people, and I'm investing in people and, of course, the product. But when I invest in a person, it's that. And anyone will tell you that. Like, they're not joking. So Matt said he's investing. He's not calling you. We may talk fishing, we may talk hunting.
Yeah.
I am not asking.
You may have quarterly, annual meetings, whatever it is.
You run your show.
Yeah.
I'm never going to question you. It's not my role, and that's not what I signed up for, because when you're asked to be a capital investor in some of these groups, the expectation is shut your damn mouth.
Yeah.
And people have a hard time believing that. Well, guess what you don't get invited to? The second party. You start running around, and they're okay with questioning. It's not like they're saying, don't ever question what we're doing. Know your role. I'm not as smart as you. I don't know how to develop a green tree reservoir there. Blah, blah, blah. Whatever it may be, in those particular situations, enjoy the ride. And remember why your instinct told you to invest in that particular product. They didn't ask you for your brain. They asked you for a little bit of money, capital, to put in. So, in a lot of things of that nature. And the other one we talked about earlier was Cash River Farms, which is like my baby. That is my favorite thing I've ever done in my life. And
so what is Cash River Farms?
So Cash River Farms, we have multiple farms in Arkansas. And one of my very best friends there, he came down to play baseball at Nichols. He had played at University of Arkansas. He comes down. And he and I, one thing that most people, the only thing they really care about to talk to me is whitetail deer hunting. I am a lunatic when it comes to it. Sickness, like it's controlled my life and it's bad. So, and I say that like I'm not facetious when I say that. It's an addiction. If you go to the camp, I have killed myself. When I'm after a certain animal, it's game over. It's me and you, and we're going to see whose mental toughness is, who's going to break who first. And look, a lot of times you get broken, but a lot of times we hunt a lot of public land up there. So in the Cache and White River, I've been up there probably 17, 18 years now. I think it was since I was 24, so it's 18 years I've been going there. I spent every Thanksgiving, and anywhere from 10 to 14 days. But this was before. I mean, now I'm in Arkansas. It's like a second home. I'm there at least during the duck season. I will literally drive 8 hours to hunt and come home. I've done it. It's not a surprise to anyone.
Yeah.
So we figured out, Dustin and I, years ago, like, man, we'd love to own a farm here. Well, then the third partner comes in. I say third. There was three of us who started Cash River Farms, all right? Joe comes into my life, the other partner. He's a character. I love him. But we bought the first farm there, and that was a group. It's called CKLSC. Dustin started an Instagram account. He does all our Instagram. He does all that stuff. It's Cash River Farms, but CKLLC essentially doing business as Cash River Farms. So that started. We bought a farm or bought a track, and then we flip a track. We do that. Like, damn, there's something to this. And so what I call this is recreational investing. This is what I truly love to do. I love to hunt. I love to speckle trout fish. And I was trying to figure out ways, and how do we make a few dollars doing what we love to do so we can really justify this insanity? And when I call it recreational investing, that to me is investing in something that you truly love. It's not a building. It's not real estate. It is real estate, but that's not why you're doing it.
Right.
But what Cash River Farms brings, when you get into the ag world, so not only think about the diversity in this. So you buy a piece of ground up there. There's sharecropping. There's WRP. There's CRP. There's lease income. There's crop insurance. There's timbering. The list goes on and on and on. There's ancillary sources of income sprinkled across the board. So this turned into now 8 farms up and down the Cache River. We have one that sits right, it's a 40-acre block that sits right in between everything pretty much. So we're kind of maybe last farm's 12, 15 miles south. One's, we're right in the middle of everything where the furthest drive's about 15 miles, either way, north or south.
Got it.
And they're up and down the river. And we have a trading portfolio. I say that. We have a holding portfolio and a trading portfolio. Look at that as a stock market, but you're playing with land now. But there are some pieces that you will never take from us. We'll go to the grave with them. I don't care what you offer. We say we ain't selling them. We all know them. Like we could go through the forms in my head. Go Tupelo, never selling. Manville, never selling. Little Dixie, never gonna sell it. So don't ask. We're not gonna do it. But we take a tremendous amount of pride in that. Dustin's grown an Instagram account there. It's almost 31,000 followers. I mean, if you'd see it, it's very interesting and it's cool. It's very informative. But he takes you through the journey. And a lot of our members there in our club are from Louisiana, just because our hunting has suffered down south, so they kind of migrate up and they love it. I mean, they look forward to it. And those guys might be able to come 2 or 3 times a year, but we're having a blast. And then we said, you know what, we got to cater to the experience. So we have 2 lodges that are side by side, about 30 yards apart on one track that sits in between everything. And we're constantly looking. We just we flipped one the other day, and hopefully the next buy comes along. But how that goes. The word gets out, and it's harder and harder to find the right ones that make sense. But the beauty of that is we brought in now it's 4 of us. The 4th one that comes in, same thing. Great dude, brings a ton to the table, fun as can be. I mean, it's basically a 401k with a bunch of land, and that's what we love to do. And everybody takes pride in it. And the forms, I mean, it takes a minute. Now here you are in this 6th, 7th year that we get into it. Now we're dialing in all the forms. We're making them right. Because you flip a form, you have capital, and you know that. You've got to expense it. So what do? You put it back into it.
Yeah.
Well, we built a 40-something foot duck blind. One's got a kitchen on it on the river. And this one that we're going to sink in this year, we're building off the back of one of the forms of hell with going through the public launch. We got a swamp excavator out there digging. So we can put boats into the back of the farm and just cruise right on in the morning to where we're making it for our guests trying to cater to that experience and give them something. We want them to get every nickel they're paying for. And that's our job to do it right.
Well, and that's what they expect too, right? Especially whenever they're going to some place that is advertised as such.
Yeah. And look, it's cool because you can't go there and get a guided hunt. That's not what we're about. We have our strategic members, and it's like a little family now. We have a retention rate that's high. If you get out, you're not coming back in. And there's a list of people that we could go through that want to be members there. It's insane. But we keep the pressure off, meaning most of our guys are from Louisiana. We don't need people from 10 miles away coming in to hunt 60 days. We're not going to allow that.
Yeah.
We don't want our farms blown up. We want keep pressure to a minimum, and that's been a philosophy with us for deer hunting. And then, of course, with deer hunting, we flip farms too. My thing was people don't want to put in the back end work, so I would buy a farm, look at it for the right acreage, and look at it across the board and say, if you spend X amount of money, that would bring this by to say $2,200 an acre. And if I knew that I could get it where I needed it, people want turnkey. They don't want to put in the work. So I'll develop their exit and entry. I'll put in their stands. I'll do everything I have to do, especially if you have power and you have water. That's a whole nother game changer. But you have to look at all those things. I mean, little things like gravel versus pavement. I like being off a back road, but I learned on one sale that I had a lot that were in it, ultimately sold and it was profitable, but the gravel road deterred the wives. They didn't want to drive there. And I never thought about that. I love gravel roads. To me, it's a sense of freedom. I love hitting back roads and the world's fine again. Well, that ain't not Mr. Joe's wife. You know, she's like, the hell with a dirt road. What do you mean a dirt road? My Escalade's not going a dirt road.
Not buying a farm and driving down a gravel road.
Right. Never thought about that. So there's just ways, man, to trick it out and do things the way that I think that they should be done. And that's just one way, and it's full speed and it's the right way. So that's my journey, man. I don't know what else I'm missing. Probably some things in between, but that's about the crux of it. And to be quite honest with you, I don't know where it's taking me. I don't even know where I am right now half the time. I move very fast right now, basically live out of a truck. And I'm not exaggerating. If you see it right now, it's clean.
Yeah.
There's a rack in the back. There's clothes everywhere, and I sleep in a different place just about every other night.
Really?
Mm-hmm. But I got to do what I got to do to get these things going.
Yeah.
And that's just how it's got to be. So, and I'm okay with that. Life's taking me in a position where that's where I am right now, and I guess it's been a blessing. I don't mean that being a blessing. I mean blessing is that it's occupying my time. You know, going through a tough stage and then getting out of it. So at least being on the road and working hard is kind of getting your mind right. But sometimes people got to go to the bottom to get to the top. And I'm not saying I ever got to the top, but I got to the bottom.
Yeah.
And it's humbling. It's good. It's hard. It's hard to see it at the time, but it needs to happen to certain people, and it needs to slow people down. I just hope that somebody of the people that get in that situation, I told a guy the other day, I said, man, you remind me a lot of me, and I don't mean that in a good way. And I'm dead serious. I'm like, you were moving way too fast. I got a lot of regrets right now in life, and I probably always will. And look, I'm not one of those who says, poor me. You will never hear that come out. I'm very blessed. I'm very grateful for everything I've been given. But I also wish I'd enjoyed whatever little journey I'm on. Sometimes I don't, man. I get very uptight, and I want to be enjoyable, but I'm worried about the next thing. So, you know, there's just times I wish I was looser, and I'm getting better about it. Absolutely, especially in the last 6 months. But it took me to get to a point where I don't want people going.
Yeah.
I don't ever want to see my friends there. I don't want to go there. I needed it, but not everybody does. And not everybody claws their way out of it. That's the other problem.
Yeah. Not everybody's nearly as strong to go hit rock bottom and then climb their way back up to the point where you're at right now and continue to grow, right?
Yeah, I just promised myself this round, this next phase, because I felt the energy coming back, and I'm going, oh, Jesus, here we go again. And I know it when it comes on. Like, I feel like I'm ready to go. I want to run through a brick wall. I can't sleep. I'm salivating at the next day going, tomorrow's going to be something special. But now I'm reminding myself, slow down and stop going so high and don't ever go so low again. This is an active work in progress.
Right.
Clearly, I have to remind myself, but I pray a lot more these days. Every morning I wake up and at least acknowledge to be grateful to wake up. I ain't getting out of my bed until that happens, and saying thank you and moving on. But I'm trying to just learn lessons from hard way, but I'm learning. So still learning a lot, and hopefully you keep going because I still am young. But I don't want to watch people go through what I went through, and they don't see the side, the 5 o'clock till midnight or the Sunday nights when that comes on. Like, oh crap, we got the whole week. You have no idea. Like, that's what I tell people. You have no idea what goes on in the head. And again, it's all self-inflicted. All of it. I'm not complaining. I'm just saying, careful what you wish for. Careful what you wish for, my friend. I don't know what the hell you think my version of me is, but I know what it is.
Yeah.
And it's a mental grind every day to keep going. But I gotta when I start feeling my juices, like I feel it and it comes on. I'm like, oh boy, what am I about to get into next? And I get very impulsive, extremely impulsive. And it could be a buy, it could be somewhere I smell blood. And when I smell blood, I bite. And I mean that in the business world. I'm not trying to smell blood like hurt a human, but when I smell
business speaking,
it don't take long.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden it shifts and I'm on to the next one. And I wonder, I'm like, man, am I ever going to be able to turn this off? Here I am actively focused on it right now. And I don't know if I can get better at it, but I don't know that I can turn it off. I don't know if I'll ever be satisfied. And I'm worried I'm going to go through life and say, I've never been satisfied. Why? I don't know. That's how God built me. That's the only answer I got. I don't know. It ain't like I sit there going, look at me, ever. I look at myself like I'm just below the ground and I got to get better. And that sucks because if I can't please myself, how can someone else please me? And I've messed that up before. But I was so busy trying to get to the next level. And I still don't know what the next level is. The next thing that I wasn't enjoying the present. So, working on it, but that's my story, man. I don't think it's anything special. It's just wild. I mean, it really is. If you come operate with me in a day, you'd think I'm a lunatic. Like, how do you remember that? I said, I don't. You can ask what I ate for breakfast. I said, man, I don't know. I can watch a movie for 2 hours, and I'm like, that's a good movie. What's it about? Navy SEALs. That's as deep as I'm going.
Yeah.
My mind's everywhere, and it don't stop. It just keeps going and going and going. Like, ugh. That's one thing I love about hunting. Hunting and fishing, I'm in the moment. That's the stuff I do not forget that stuff. The best hunts is, if I've got 80 deer between skulls and mounts on a wall, I can tell you literally where every single one, how I hunted them, where they came from, probably what the conditions were. I get that locked in. But when the business world comes around, it's so many moving parts, and I just put out fires. Boom, 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 boom. And move to the next one. And I'm not saying fires get big, but you know how it is. You just got to quiet things down, you move on to the next one.
Yeah, you kind of start your day with a little sprinkler, and then you end with a fire hose.
Yeah.
And then you have to, like, when people go on vacation, you have to play that much time you were away to catch up, and then you're still catching up what you missed from that week of.
Yeah.
And it's a never-ending fire hose of work, questions, fires to be put out. It's consistently, and especially with you having so many irons and so many different things, there's fires coming from all over the place. Yeah,
one thing I wish, it just sometimes I feel completely where I'm misunderstood, or where people, I tell people all the time, we're so unimportant. But, it's nice to be able to go to a store and not be asked to fix a speeding ticket or about a custody case or something, man. Like, it's every single day, whether it's through a donation or and I'm grateful. I believe in the principle of giving to get. I believe that if you're grateful enough, blessed enough to make a little bit of money, you have to be able to give back. These go back to long principles, but at some point in time, it wears your ass out.
Yeah.
It's every day. Every single day, someone is coming at you to where you go in a store, your hat's low, and you're praying, like, please, 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 because I don't want to be rude. But at some point, at 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock at night, I'll literally look at someone and be like, man, are you kidding me? Why would you put me in this position right now at 8 o'clock at night? And look, don't think I don't go home and beat myself up about that. I've never been one to be able to hide my emotions. It's not that I'm mad. I get it, but get me. You know what I mean? I just sometimes want to be to where I'm in a state of solitude.
It goes to what I can relate to people getting angry in traffic.
Yeah.
If somebody cuts you off, you're immediately angry that they cut you off. However, you don't take the time to think about what made them cut you off. And it could be something totally trivial as them just trying to be a couple minutes early to their next destination. But it could also be somebody trying to save a life, right? And so we oftentimes get angry from our perspective that we don't take the time to sit there and be like, hang on, maybe Matt's looking down because he's got a lot going on in his life, and maybe now is not the time, and there may ever be a correct time to ask X, Y, and Z question, whatever it is. People don't take that time to put their self in someone else's shoes prior to opening up saying, hey, outside of saying, hey, how you doing? Just hey, Matt, my son's Little League team is coming up in summertime. We're trying to find a sponsor. We don't often take the time to say, wait a minute, I've got stuff going on. Maybe they do too. And maybe it's greater than my stuff because I know that they're involved in a lot of different things.
Yeah.
But it's always, nope, my need is this, and I'm going to ask them for my need.
I'm not joking. I think my biggest daily struggle right now is when my good buddy back home, I share a lot with somebody. I could tell him anything. He never takes something the wrong way. But I told him one time, I said, watch this. And this went on. This was probably 6 months ago. I'm not exaggerating. It was something of the nature of probably 8 out of 10 or 9 out of 12, 11 nights. By that through the day, it was just showing them, whether it's email, message on desk, something broad. I said every day. And it's just people that you're grateful that people think that you're in such a fine, but I'm like, dude, we got to work our butts off to be able to give you money for whatever it is. When you start becoming ungrateful, and expected that I'm supposed to kill myself, that's going to frustrate me. And look, I'm always going, but now it's very selective on what we got to do.
Yeah.
Because I don't mind saying that to where people hear it. I'm tired. You know what I mean? Just enough's enough. Please be kind when you ask and don't expect anything in return. You don't know what people go through 14 hours a day to get to a point where we can give you $100 for a team. Grateful to do it. There's a right and a wrong way. And now it's the point where you almost feel I can read the text messages and say, you're telling me, hey, this will be 2 minutes. So if I respond, I know what the next question is. Guaranteed. That now I feel like so many people are disingenuous. And then you become very guarded and you get this little small circle where you're going, God dang it, I know what he's about to do. And sure enough, hey man, how's everything been? Did you really mean that? And I know you didn't because I know what you're going to follow up with. And you did. You did it time and time, or they did it time and time again. It's like, I'm so conscious of that with people. Have you ever just asked me how my day was? Where you didn't need something in return? And that's what you deal with in smaller places, I guess. And again, very grateful to be able to do it, but it's tiring, man. People need to be able to breathe. And you're going to get reactions you don't like sometimes because people are going to have enough. I think just me, there's a lot of people in those towns that go through it.
Yeah.
And by me, I mean
people
us.
everywhere, and
it's not me, it's AMO. It's our, because we've given a lot, more than we should, to be quite frank. Damn, I'm proud of that. I'm glad I can die one day and say it, but nobody knows that.
It's the lens in which they view it, right?
Yeah.
So it's tailored to what they see. They don't see that you've already done 10 teams that year. It's like
tip of the iceberg, dude.
It's what they're able to view in their specific frame of mind, and that's kind of how they're making their decisions, right? They're not saying, wait a second, maybe back up a little bit. They've got 4 locations that are in proximity to 100 teams each, or it's we're picking on Little League teams here, but
right.
it could be anything and everything, right?
Well, I wish they knew too that sometimes it is hard on me saying no a lot to that, because it is a lot of good people that you do want to. We can't do it for everybody.
Can't help everybody.
So it puts me in a position where I wish I just didn't have to feel bad at night going, damn, I really had to say no, or I'll try and get back to you when I know I'm not getting back to you.
Yeah.
But if I don't do that, some I have no problem with. I can tell by the presentation where I'm actually glad to say no chance, 0. There's others you really do want to, and you're like, damn it, we just did so-and-so or this, and it's probably not, within our budget to do this. And it really beats you up at night. And people don't realize that part of the spot they're putting you in. And they don't mean to. It's not their fault. But it does weigh on me a lot. But it's the older you get, the more you have to say no because you literally I won't be able to eat. Like, glad you have a baseball bag, but I can't eat, I'm eating Doritos tonight.
Yeah.
So I don't know, man. It's just a little misunderstanding there, but I don't always handle it like I should. But that's who I am. My intentions are always good, and I'm always going to do the right thing at the end of the day. You may not like it. I have to apologize so much in my life, it's not even funny. But I'm willing to do it.
Well, and again, it's also, we're a reactionary species. We're going to react to what's come before us. And so if, again, it may not be you directly, but at the point where you ask, you could be the 10th person that day that's asked the same exact question, the same exact way. And it gets you as a human to the point that you just have a slight snap and you respond in a way that may not be as was the first response of the day, right?
Yep.
But we can only take so much as people. So with that, it's about time to start wrapping up the show. So you kind of prefaced at the beginning of the show, you had some answers ready to and rocked to go. So we ask 4 questions of every guest. The first one being, what is something you did as a kid you wish you could still do today?
Play Little League Baseball.
Yeah?
Absolutely. Nothing to look forward to more in my life. I lived across the street from a park, and I would be able to watch, like, we'd see rainy days, and all you wait to do is get to that 5 o'clock game. Couldn't wait, and I could see the park from my window, and I'd just sit there looking to see if they were raking the field, and I'd go, like, I could still smell the dirt, I could smell the grass, I could smell the ball. There's nothing in my life, there's nothing more pure where there was never a worry on my mind than Dixie baseball. Period, the end.
Love it.
Yeah.
So what are 3 lessons you've learned along the way in your so extremely diverse career thus far?
Like I told you earlier, pigs live and hogs get slaughtered. Always give. Pay people what they're worth. Pay them more than they're worth, actually. See the forest through the trees. Have the ability to not get caught up in the minutia. And if you haven't attacked that picture, stop worrying about the little bitty details of getting away. That shit happens. Like, you know what I mean? Just go. My path is never this straight little path. It does like this, and off to the right, left, whatever. Don't lose focus of what the end goal is. Find a way. And then I think the third lesson is to enjoy the present. You know what I mean? Like, and those that you do really true love, people that you truly love. That not all, great people don't always come in out of your life. So the ones that do, appreciate them, tell them you love them. Spend more time with them and enjoy their presence. The little bitty things, like, it doesn't take much to let someone know or show that you care about them. It takes so little.
Yeah.
Like, don't get caught up in what I do to where it's nothing intentional. You just get blinded to where you're going, damn, you're so focused on this, I'm losing focus of this person who loves me, or, whether it's family, whether it's a wife, whatever it may be. I just hope that people know how easy it is to just tell someone you love them and show them that you care. Like, it's not a big ask of someone at all. And if you can't do that, you deserve to be, alone. So it's easy. Do it.
Yeah. So what is something you love about Louisiana?
The litter everywhere. No, I'm kidding. It's great people. When you travel a pretty good bit, you can see how friendly. There are some really friendly people in South Louisiana. And I think that's a trait that people take for granted because you do get lost in the crime. You do get lost in the litter. I know I do. But at the end of the day, it's some really cool people down here.
And they're doing great things as well.
Oh, yeah. It's a neat place. Like, it's different. Good, bad. For the better, for the worse, it's different.
Yeah.
We know that.
We're our own little bubble, you know?
Go to Europe for 10 days and get off in New Orleans. I could be blindfolded. I'm like, I'm in New Orleans. I smell it. I can see.
You smell it and you feel it too. Like, let's be honest.
The humidity, all of it just hits you like, oh, I'm back. Damn it. But
I was in Virginia for a wedding a couple years ago, and I had to take a flight to Chicago to down to New Orleans just to make it back for my sister's graduation. And in Chicago, it was 30 degrees, and I was freezing my butt off. I land in New Orleans, and I'm immediately sweating. Like, how is this possible?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I know what you mean.
But it's a unique place for sure.
Mm-hmm.
So for the final question, man, what can I do to help you?
I think you've done it. Continue to do a good job on your show, and people watch, and God will take me where he needs me to go. But I'm gracious enough for a chance to be here, and you've done plenty.
Well, I'm happy for you to come, man. I really appreciate you making the time.
Yeah, I had a good time.
So, all right, man. Well, thank you so much for coming on, Matt. Appreciate you. And I appreciate everybody else, whether you are listening or watching the show. Thank you so very much. Matt is doing so much within his different businesses. We're going to link all of them in the show notes. So if you're interested in any of them, just click on it, check them out, and let them know that Patty G sent you. And also let all of our gracious partners of the show know that I sent you their way. And if you need to know a little bit more about them, they're coming up right now.
Welcome to the brand new Falaya mobile app. We took all the same tech that's helped hundreds of people sell their homes themselves and packed it into an easy-to-use app for your phone. When you download the Falaya mobile app on either the Apple or Android App Store, you'll immediately be able to see the power of this game-changing tool. From the seller's dashboard, you can navigate to all the information that you need. We intentionally separated everything into key groups, such as tasks to be completed, buyer leads for your listing, and contact information for everyone involved through closing. When you get an offer on your property, you can simply review and respond all within the app. No matter where you are in the world, you'll be able to monitor everything that's going on with your property from listed to sold. It's truly the power of Falaya in the palm of your hand. Download the app and see for yourself. Falaya, it's real estate reimagined.
Thank you so very much to Building 5 for becoming the latest sponsor of the Patty G Show. We are going to be filming once a month at Building 5. We're going to post about it on our social so you can come and visit with us. Building 5 is an excellent food establishment if you're into sharing boards and really getting a creative menu. Misty and Brumby have done an excellent job of creating an environment that's warm, welcoming, and inviting for every single occasion. Go on over to Building 5 in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, and tell them that the Patty G Show sent you.
Imagine taxiing on a plane looking toward the end of the runway. It seems so far away, it's even hard to see it. And that's what the concept of retirement probably felt like when you were in your 20s, 30s, and 40s, way far in the distance, not visible or even a concern. But as you turn 50, something happens. Retirement suddenly seems like something real, something not too far away. In your 50s, you are rolling down the runway. Retirement is getting closer and closer, faster and faster, weeks and months zipping by. But are you even ready for a successful takeoff to retirement? Fear not, there's still runway left. But the time is now. Time to make progress and time to get a plan. The Runway Decade will help you get organized, get energized, and give you the direction you need to take off to your desired retirement. The Runway Decade, building a pre-retirement flight plan in your 50s.
Thank you to Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge for making this show possible. Nick Pentis is a past guest. We love having him on. Listening to him talk about the culture they have over at Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge is really an incredible thing to hear. How they treat not only their employees, but every customer that walks through the door. You are more than just a number to them. They're going to give you that white glove concierge service every step of the way. They're going to make you feel like family and take what can be a stressful time in people's life, shopping for a car. They're going to make it so enjoyable and so pleasurable. You're going to want to go back there time and time again for every new vehicle. Thank you so very much for Mercedes-Benz of making this show possible. Thank you to our wonderful sponsor, Lake Men's Health Center with Our Lady of the Lake Physicians Group. Guys, I know it's tough to get out and go to the doctor. I know it's challenging to find time in our busy days, but I promise you, signing up to be a part of this group with Dr. Curtis Chastain and Dr. Tyler Boudreau. You won't regret it for several reasons, but most of those being the fact of the time it saves, where you're able to get in on the same day, get that appointment done, and spend that time you need to talk with them about what your health goals and concerns are, as well as ensuring that the financial investments you have, you will be able to live out and see those come to fruition. So if you're an investing guy, you know all about and planning for the future and investing in the future. There's no other more important thing to invest in than your health. Make sure you go check them out, Our Lady of the Lake Physicians Group Men's Health Center, and tell them Patty G sent you. McLavy's Ltd, a proud sponsor of the Patty G Show, has been serving the Baton Rouge area proudly for 40-plus years. Gentlemen and ladies, if you're shopping for your man, there is no other place in the Baton Rouge area to get your clothing, whether it's game day needs, everyday needs, business attire, formal attire, whatever you want. Go over there, see Frank and Ashley. It's a father-daughter duo. They do incredible things in their store. They will outfit you from as simply a shirt that you need for one evening or all the way to a full wardrobe overhaul. They're going to take care of you every step of the way, and be sure and let them know that Patty G Show sent you.
The Patty G Show is proudly brought to you by Mimosa Handcrafted Jewelry. Mimosa Handcrafted Jewelry is a local business right here in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. They create handcrafted jewelry for everyday use, that special occasion, whatever it may be. Gentlemen, they've got amazing jewelry both for male and female. Everyone is our audience. You know, after years of experimenting with everything from ceramic jewelry, glass beads, and enamel, they've settled in on the ancient art of lost wax casting. Is their main form of creating their work. They cast everything in bronze, sterling silver, and 14-karat gold. Every step of the way is done here right in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Proud sponsors of the Patty G Show. Mimosa Handcrafted Jewelers. Get out there and tell them that Patty G sent you, and they're going to take great care of you on your next order.